Mockingbird is considered a truly American novel. It glorifies the virtues of independence, loyalty, and courage, while also displaying the dark side of America's stereotypical and racist past. It forces its readers today to recognize that past and to appreciate the present even more. This book has been hit by controversy because of its stereotypical characters and use of a certain word. But it is also important because of the overall message seen in what is arguably the most important quote of the novel. Hi, I'm Thomas Mahoney, and this is Mixed Metaphors. Allow me to explain how these videos work. Each episode consists of 2 videos, the first given by me. I examine the overall details important to the background of the author and to the content of the book. I will also examine key things to know, such as themes, symbols, etc., citing evidence straight from the novel itself. The latter video is by my friend Jeffrey. He will explore into deeper detail using passage analysis. Let's get started by diving right into the background. Harper Lee was born in Monroeville, Alabama in 1926, in the midst of the Great Depression. She grew up the daughter of Amasa Lee, a lawyer and state legislator. In Charles J. Shields' Mockingbird, a portrait of Harper Lee, before Amasa became a title lawyer, he defended a father and son who were black, charged with the murder of a white man. Both were hanged, which has led to the speculation that this event was the inspiration of the main plot of To Kill a Mockingbird, with characters Atticus and Scout Finch representing Amasa and Harper Lee. The main character, Scout, reflects 2 main features of Lee's childhood: her familial loneliness except from her father, and her views on gender. Lee grew up separated from her mother, which explains why she might become a tomboy, without a feminine influence. She didn't really connect with her siblings, as the youngest of the 4, which contributed to her loneliness. What can we infer from this? Lee grew up mostly independent from motherly and social influences. She would still have them, but her relationship with her father would shape her thinking. Let's take it to the sketchbook to review. To Kill a Mockingbird is a flashback, as we start with Jean Louise Scout Finch, recalling the events that led up to her brother Jim having a cast on his own. She starts at age 6, where she meets and befriends a boy named Dill, based off of real-life friend Truman Capote. The 3 end up becoming best of friends. They amuse themselves with their interesting yet terrifying neighbor Boo Radley, who is rumored to have stabbed his father and now lives in isolation. The 3 dare each other to touch his front door in order to lure him out. Instead of finding an upset Boo Radley, they find little gifts in the oak tree outside the house, though it takes them a while to find. Meanwhile, in the main plot, Jem and Scout's father, Atticus, is a well-respected public defender, but things have changed. Atticus is defending Tom Robinson, a disabled black man whose left arm was caught in a cotton gin. He was charged for the assault and rape of Mayella Ewell. Mayella is part of the Ewell family, being a large family with no mother and an alcoholic father, Bob Ewell. The Ewells are looked down upon by the community as stereotypical white trash. In the trial, Atticus proves that Tom Robinson could not have abused Mayella, as the bruise on Mayella's face was on her right side, and a man without a left arm could not have made that bruise. Bob Ewell, on the other hand, was left-handed, and the reader's left thinking that he abused his daughter. The jury, though, doesn't buy it, because it's seemingly impossible to convince an all-white jury that a black man could be innocent, despite being ridiculed by the community continuously because of Atticus's offense. The Finches endure, for example, protecting Tom from being hanged by a mob. After the trial, however, seeing no way out of jail, Tom attempts to escape from prison, ultimately shot and killed. Meanwhile, on Halloween night, Bob Ewell attempts to kill Jem and Scout with a knife, after being embarrassed by Atticus at the trial, until Boo Radley comes out to protect his kids
by killing Bob Ewell, the same way it had been rumored that he killed his father.
In order to understand the lessons learned, we must first understand how they were learned. In Scout's case, her views on race were learned from Atticus. The first thing to notice is that Scout calls Atticus by his first name, rather than father or dad. This suggests a more friendly relationship, as opposed to the traditional father and daughter roles. That's the main difference. But we can also see that, despite being different, they are still good inside of Atticus, as he contrasts with another father, Bob Ewell. I wanted to say how literally one-dimensional Bob Ewell was. I mean, he has never done anything good. Even the community shuns him for leeching off of welfare. I mean, he beats and rapes his eldest daughter. He lies in court. What hasn't this man done? But he has got something. The color of his skin. This is ultimately why he wins, but we know it ruins the Ewell's reputation. Jem, see if you can stand in Bob Ewell's shoes a minute. I destroyed his last shred of credibility. If threatening me saved my Aunt Ewell one extra beating, that's something I'll gladly take. Atticus, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. He does everything he can to protect his reputation. Miss Maudie says, and we already know why. The most conflicting event, however, that shows why Atticus is a good man, happens towards the end. Atticus has to choose between telling the truth or covering up how Bob Ewell died. He thinks he made the right decision. More on that later. Atticus Finch is the same in his house as he is on public streets. Now, the important lesson to the story is that Scout learns not to judge people from just her perspective, but also from theirs. As Atticus says, "You never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view, until you climb into his skin and walk around in it." He meant that metaphorically, not literally, like Leatherface or Buffalo Bill. What's important to know is that Scout goes through this process herself. Point is, this is a very important theme which we see occur very often throughout the novel. The paradox of attempting to establish a fair trial when biases are already ingrained in your society. A never-ending circle, a self-fulfilling prophecy. The moral of not judging a book by its cover is not only seen in the trial of Tom Robinson, but also in the persecution of Boo Radley. Boo is nothing but nice to the kids, yet up until he saves their lives, he is seen as a monster of sorts, even with the presents he gives them. This essentially emulates the trial, as the kids are the jury, while Boo is Tom Robinson. Another important part of the novel is the loss of innocence, along with the realization that the world is unfair. This happens several times, not only just to the children, but to Atticus as well. With Reverend Sykes, they witness an impeccable defense of Tom, yet the jury still convicts him. This, for the kids at least, shakes any faith they might have had in the justice system. Atticus, knowing this would happen, is greatly disappointed, but not shaken yet. Something in his mind does click, however, when he finds out that Tom was killed when he tried to escape prison. At this point, Atticus, even as an adult, does lose a certain degree of innocence. Atticus leaned against the refrigerator, pushed up his glasses, and rubbed his eyes. "We had such a good chance," I told him. "It is a sin to kill a mockingbird because they are innocent." Mockingbirds don't do one thing but make music for us to enjoy. This is a pretty clear metaphor, but there are some subtle ones as well. Obviously, Tom Robinson is considered a mockingbird because all he wants to do is help Aunt Ewell. Another could be Boo Radley. After Boo saves Jem and Scout from Bob Ewell, Mr. Tate and the sheriff discuss with Atticus on what to do next. Boo Radley had been living alone since he was a teenager, and all the publicity this would bring him would bring only discomfort. So what they decide to do is frame it as if Ewell had fallen on his own knife. Atticus is hesitant. because this is essentially breaking the law and will ruin his reputation with his children. Scout, on the other hand, disagrees. She feels that Boo doesn't deserve any publicity because it would be like killing a mockingbird. So Atticus goes along with Scout. This is only part 1 of the video. If you want to see part 2, Jeffrey is waiting. In the meanwhile, I'll see you next time.